Buongiorno e benvenuti. Welcome to Art Yoga Pills with me, your host, Dinny. In this space, we will connect and share together about creativity, inner child, and self-awareness. Siete pronti? Enjoy! Ciao a tutti, kia ora, and welcome to a new episode of Art Yoga Pills. Today I'm not alone, I have a very special guest with me. I have Zoe from Toru Massage. How are you, Zoe?
Hi, I'm good. I'm very good. How are you?
I'm really good, actually. Every time that I'm doing this with someone, it brings a sense of a mix in between excitement and curiosity towards where the conversation will go. So, yeah, I'm a mix of both today. Thank you for asking.
I feel the same. Excited, but where will this go? Let's see.
Exactly. But I'm assuming that the first question should make it easy for you, although it could be also considered a big question. So let's see, with no pressure, where this will lead us today. And my first question is in regard mainly about who you are. And so it is up to you if you wish to go towards your personal life or your professional life, and just simply notice how you feel when I'm asking you, who is Zoe?
Well, I think it's a really interesting question to start on a personal level because even as you're saying it, I'm like, oh, I can feel that feeling of like, oh my God, who am I? But I know who I am. It's just quite a challenging question, eh? That I guess when you were asked it, if no one really asks you these questions. But on a personal level, without getting too deep, obviously I'm from the UK from my accent. So I first came to New Zealand and lived up north in Whangarei for a few years, but back when I was 21. So I came to New Zealand when I was kind of young and I feel like a Kiwi, even though I don't sound like one. But my journey to New Zealand was linked with kind of finding a more holistic type of life or way. I came here from a real city kind of vibe, really young, just interested in going out and blah blah blah. And so coming here and moving up north was like a massive culture shock, but like the best thing I ever did. And yeah, slowly got introduced to people that were more into, say, rongoa, and more traditional types of healing. But I was really lucky to get to spend time in Whangarei because of that close Māoridom connection. That I feel if I had come straight to Auckland, straight to Waiheke, which is where I'm based, I definitely wouldn't have that input. And I don't think I would be who I am if I had just come straight here or just gone to Wellington or something, like for sure. So I think that's got like a big part to play. But right now, I am about 5, 6 years into starting my own massage business here, which was kind of like wanting to get out of hospital. I'm sure many people listening have been in the situation here where you come to New Zealand, you work in hospitality, and you're in bars and restaurants, and you're like, yeah, I'm just doing this for a visa. And then like so long down the line, you're like, okay, I'm a resident now. Like, why am I still here? And this is not what I'm supposed to be, I want more. But I think moving to Waiheke helped me to see there was a space for that for me, that it's possible to just start kind of part-time. And yeah, I think, yeah, moving here definitely helped with being more into like a holistic, more spiritual style of life. And yeah, and I will tend to go around in circles here, so I may lose my point, which is already happening. I should be making notes. But yeah, here we are, I'm back. So yeah, I started my business maybe 5, 6 years ago. I'd gone back to the UK to train to bring that back here. And yeah, it's actually been going really well ever since. It's been really hard, again, as we all know, with COVID, that anyone that started a business around 18, 19, your first year is not really a true year. you really don't know till like your second and third. And that's when COVID happened. So it's kind of hard to kind of work out what a normal year is, but it seems to be very productive. I know a lot of people here. I have a lot of interest through my website. So yeah, it's working really well. I guess generally I'm just someone who is trying to kind of live a way that makes me feel good, that I'm giving back in a way or connecting with other people as well, because I do miss that from hospitality. Like I miss the face-to-face kind of connecting with people. I get it a little bit, but only for the first 2 minutes of when you walk in the room before you jump on the table. Some people want to talk during, but most people just want to zone out kind of thing. So yeah, finding ways to connect with people in ways more than just serving a drink. Like, yeah. And it gives me a real sense of purpose and being when someone walks in with a, you know, whatever, sore shoulders, whatever thing they've been dealing with, and then walk out feeling better, feeling different, noticing the change. And then being able to back that up with a few maybe stretches or movements, linking in with teaching Pilates now as well. So that, yeah, that's another connector too. But yeah, I guess that's me. Did I say who I am? I'm not even sure.
Yeah, thank you, Zoe. I really appreciate like where you start from your personal level and then moving to the professional one. And the part that at the moment it brings a lot of curiosity for me is especially the way you started it and the way you were conscious about the decision you made without not even knowing where your path was leading you, of choosing to live out of a city and going more towards what it sounded to me a deeper connection with this country, which to me is also very important, like the connection with New Zealand, but with Aotearoa and what that
Mm.
means. So my first curiosity was around your beginning with massage, and initially I thought there was something that you were bringing from your, you know, from UK, like so
Mm.
bringing it with you from the country you started your journey, but now yeah, I would like to explore with you what that meant for you initially, and how that came into your life
Mm. Mm.
in the place where you are, so in Aotearoa, because it sounded to me that previously was not even
No.
something that you went into consideration. So I'm curious to explore a little bit deeper what that meant for you in the time that you started to understand that probably there was something else for you, not just like the hospitality work.
Yeah, yeah. I think it probably started about 5 or 6 years before I made the decision to change. It was like a slow progression from my early 20s from arriving here. Um, but yeah, I'm like, I was thinking of so many things that you were saying in that question. I'm like, oh, I've got too many points to say. Right, where shall I begin? I guess it links a lot as well with, yeah, so many points. The business itself really links a lot more with like my Māoridom, that where that kind of roots came from, because like you say, I didn't actually bring it from the UK. I went back to the UK to train, so I'm qualified from the UK. But yeah, it was more a sense of, I guess, I'm like, how do I say this in a business sense? It's not, it's personal. So let's switch back into that sense of me first arriving. It kind of wasn't really by choice to be so far removed from that kind of city style, but I had come with my ex-partner at the time, which everyone is always like, why? Why did you live in Whangarei? I'm like, because my boyfriend was from there. So yeah, so he kind of more introduced me to that side of just like being a person that is not a super city life, like how to light a fire and like how to make a fence and like all the things that seem like really standard like human things that you really don't have if you've like grown up in the UK, and you're certainly not connected with anything spiritual. It's all very like, whoa, like what? You know, oh, Reiki? Oh, what's this? Like there is still like sort of behind on that. I feel like here, because Māoridom is so kind of close, like we're talking people have grandparents here that like experienced the things that were going on during colonization, so it's still very fresh and you can feel it here. You can still feel the mana. You can still, you go somewhere, it doesn't have to be Spirits Bay, it could be literally like the bay down round from your house in that special moment, and it just is magical. Like you can feel the energy here, and it's very rare to sort of feel that in the UK. I feel like being here for just a year or two and then trying to go back because I was still only 22, 23, really missing that life and my friends. I got back there and I think it took me about 2 months, not even, to be like, oh, I don't think I can live here anymore. Like I've changed so much in just 2 years of my general outlook of what I think is important and what I believe in to be real. So more talking about say energy and that you and I are made of energy, even just to say you and I are made of energy for some people is so challenging, like, but yet so scientific, because what is an atom? It's not even solid. What are we made of? We're made of atoms. Like it, I don't know, like it's like too mind blowing for people that just want to like go to the pub every night and live for the weekend and like there's no nature. I'm not saying there's no nature in the UK. I'm just like giving you an insight into like the kind of place where I grew up. Like, you know, people went on camping trips and whatever, but we're not like, let's go fishing or let's go to the beach. And, you know, it's not really that kind of lifestyle. So I feel like New Zealand super changed me in like so many amazing ways that obviously I'd never imagined when I came here. And I think after meeting a few people and imagining what it would be like to live that life, like not this city life over here, but live a life where I'm more mindful about everything around me and feeling connected, is like was the drive for me to want to work with people, or you know, something where I feel like I'm connected and I'm giving back in that sense, because that's just like my sense of purpose, I guess, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I guess that's that kind of roundabout story.
Yeah, thank you, Zoe. And I absolutely resonate with you because I also come from Italy and I sense the same. If
Mm,
people think about the Italian culture, it's just about like old building and something that is related with architecture more than
mm,
nature. And
yeah.
now I truly value that component that we also have, as you said, like in UK, nature, but it's not what we are mainly focused on, and that
Yeah.
brings a
Yeah.
sort of disconnection even from ourselves and nature itself, which we are part of nature, but somehow sometimes it's not an obvious link that we are reminding ourselves.
Mm,
So thank you for bringing that back for me as well, and remind me why I did choose
yeah.
as you to live here instead of the country I was born and raised to. So
Yeah, I think that
absolutely.
it's a question that you get asked so many times, being someone that's not from here. As soon as someone hears an accent, people, oh, why are you here? Why did you stay? And I guess it's after being asked that question so many times that I'm actually really thinking about it. I was like, yeah, you can't compare the two. And also, it's not for everyone, in the sense that what I find interesting or amazing or beautiful is not what someone else is going to find that way. So, like, absolutely nothing against anyone that would choose the UK over here, but like, that's not my path, you know? And like, each to their own and stuff. But yeah, no, I have my citizenship now. I got that back in like 17, 18, which is when I went back to the UK to retrain. But I can't imagine a world where I would not live here. Like I've been a lot of places and traveled a lot of places all around Europe and America and through Indonesia and like most places. But there's like nowhere that like really feels like here, where you can still have like a specific degree of lifestyle, of healthcare, of all those things, and nice weather. Let's not, no one wants to live where it rains all the time. I think maybe there's people out there, whatever, but like, it's got all these things that you can tick your boxes that I just really haven't found anywhere else. And it's extra special because of the Māoridom, though, that I think a lot of people, not to say that we're the same, but we're both people that have left where we're from. And you've got a sense of adventure, you have a sense of wanting to go and see what else is out there. And I guess that's like step one anyway, of like becoming more mindful and aware of that. But I think the more you move around, the less you feel like home anywhere. And it's very easy for you to disattach, because if you can disattach from your family and friends who you obviously love very much and all this, then you're able to keep moving around and not feel that massive pull. But yeah, I think that Māoridom is one of that feeling of belonging is a big part of like what a lot of people maybe feel like they don't really belong somewhere, and that is a thing that helps you to like maybe something that we're all passionate about that we don't realize. I don't know. And maybe that's just my opinion. But there is definitely something very special about this place. No one can tell me that you've ever watched a haka. You may have never even been to New Zealand before, but like if you watch like kapa haka, like proper, not just like the rugby guys doing it on TV, like if you actually watch the kapa haka like tournaments, dude, like if you're not like you can feel it through the TV, the energy, everything is a crazy like, and that's traditional. That is like what we've all come from at one point before westernization and culture and capitalization and whatever. Since forever, that's how we've all connected and felt energy and lived. So like it just seems natural to like want to, feels like the closest gateway to that world, living in New Zealand for me. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, and I still resonate with your sharing, especially for the kapa haka. It's been 6 years, and I still have tears coming down my face and chills when I see someone doing it.
When I say kapa haka, I can feel like the hairs on the back of my neck like standing up, and like I feel it's amazing. But again, if you don't, not everyone resonates with that, so like I get it. And I think that has a big part to play in like the branding and my idea behind the business itself of Toru Massage being that, first of all, the number 3, Toru is like massive for me, and things coming in threes and always seeing threes, 333. And also like mind, body, spirit, like the Holy Trinity, like 3's a massive number in a lot of places for a lot of people. And I wanted to keep that kind of New Zealand feeling of using like a Māori word, and I also massage with jade stone, so that's like another connection to New Zealand. But not be too up in your face about it, because like we're still dealing with like a world. And let's face it, I live on Waiheke, and if you come into a massage with me, you've probably like come over on a boat, or not everyone, but like that is the world that is here, is the world of money, and it's rich white middle-aged people. That your generalization of that person who is a generalized version of a like New Zealand Pakeha, where you don't know how they're going to take that approach on culture. And so it's like dancing that dance that I guess a lot of like New Zealanders have to dance, where depending on who you're speaking to, is how culturally appropriate like wording you're going to use, if you know what I mean. And I feel like that was like a generalized, like, it's got that New Zealand feel, but at the same time, obviously I'm also not New Zealand, so a Kiwi, true. So yeah, yeah.
But it's beautiful to see how you find your own way to implement something that is important to you in something that you wish to offer. You say earlier in our conversation that you have learned by staying here in New Zealand that there was more for you to offer, and doing what you're doing is a way for you to give back to the community. And so also bringing something that has been meaningful for you in your journey, such as implementing in what you're offering also part of that Maori culture, but also in general what this land is offering us, possibly through those jade stone. It's something for you to keep on connecting with nature, with the
Mm,
place that we chose to live in. So to me it's beautiful. Of course there is still like a lot of polarization, if that's the right word to
yeah,
say, in every aspect of our life. So trying to bringing it back to us and making it good for us. It doesn't truly need to resonate with everybody else around
yeah,
us, but as long as we are happy in our own space with our own mana, and standing for what is validate what our value are, then it's okay to making it okay even for those who might not resonate, as
yeah.
long as that brings you that sense of connection and respect with what you believe in. So I really appreciate like the way you want to acknowledge also those who might not be on the same page as we sense to be today. But yeah, I really appreciate that.
But it,
And yeah, please go ahead.
no, no, I'm pretty sure I wasn't going to say anything. Sorry, go on.
Thanks. And also to bringing it back to that sense that you were sharing about giving back to people. I'm wondering if you could share something related with if you sense that there is something really particular in the fact of giving it back to people through massage. You mentioned a little bit about the trinity of body, mind, and spirit, and I wonder if that is also connected to the way that you are connecting to other human beings through massage, through the touch, and to the power that is also unseen in
Mm,
receiving or delivering a massage. If it's something that
yeah, for sure. I think that the main part of that would be always kind of creating space for someone in the very beginning, kind of reading the room. Like if someone comes in and they've kind of mentioned that maybe they've had a loss recently, or oh, I'm really tense because this, or I've been cleaning out the house after someone's passed away, or even that their dog. I actually did have another client recently that their dog had passed away, and I kind of gave them the same sort of advice that often, like if you have specifically a knot in the shoulders or lower back, that you just woke up one day and you were like, oh, you didn't even realize, but it's there and you don't remember doing anything specific. You maybe had a bad night's sleep, but often those ones are tension, stress, anxiety. They're emotional, like not actually physical. So to be able to give someone the space that when you do touch them, sometimes you might release things. Maybe they've just been given enough mental space of no one else around for an hour that they're able to go there. But for whatever reason, often it can be kind of emotional for people. The very most basic kind of touch sometimes for whatever reason. So creating that space in the beginning to kind of let someone know that that is normal and you don't have to. Some people are weird about being emotional in front of others. It's hard. Like I say, some people, we all have a sense of, if you were to watch a movie on a plane and start crying, and then the person next to you, and you're like, ah, like it's not socially acceptable to be like all over the place. So I just like to try and create that space for people to feel okay about that. And it has happened where normally when I haven't said anything and no one's mentioned anything, that will start. And yeah, they'll need a tissue. There's like tears flowing. Sometimes they know why, sometimes they don't. Yeah, that would be one example I might give for that kind of, I guess it's not really giving back as such, but just, yeah, creating space for someone to then go on their journey to then heal themselves, whether it's a physical thing or it's an emotional thing or both, because I feel like most people I come across have the exact same knot in the exact same place, and there is not a chance that everyone is doing the same motion every day. Like, to get that knot, that one that won't go away, you know, after, it's more of a lifestyle change where you might find that, or maybe a new pillow, but you usually a lifestyle change. And yeah, I think also Pilates would maybe come into that a little bit more through the knowledge from working alongside like the physio, having my own injuries, and then seeing some really amazing connections that I would never put together, like having restriction up in your neck here, like on your C2, C3, your cervical spine, can turn off your quads or make you overload into your calves. Like these specific connections that as a physio, you would kind of know that as general knowledge. And I'm really lucky that in the Pilates studio that we work in, we work alongside the physio, do a lot of rehab. So that's really improving my understanding of the connections of the body in massage, as to like, oh, you're really tense here. Oh, do you do something like this? It's like, oh, I do. And even just the little connections, and maybe someone walks out with like, oh, that's what that is, and I'll stop doing that. And then 2 weeks later they come back and it's better, you know? So I guess that would be my version of giving back.
Yeah, and thank you so much for that. And I really enjoy how you also bring in the emotional component. That is something that I would say still many people might not realize, that it's something that is, as you were sharing, the fact that there is this trinity that we are connected to, that is
Mm,
mind, body, and spirit. The emotional component can be definitely linked to some part of our body that are affected by something that we either are not able to communicate, or even through our conscious mind we are not able to elaborate. So I really enjoy to hear
mm.
you explain about that.
It's something I'm hugely interested in, to a point of, and just recently I had my own experience of like a realization. It's not just in my mind that I had done. I kept having a reoccurring this thing with my C2, C3, that every now and then it just gets so tight. It was an old injury from a thumb sprain in massage, which upset my arm and then upset my shoulder. So I've been ongoing with a kind of weakness in my shoulder, and kept doing dry needling and acupuncture and all these things, that when it would flare up, I would get dry needling, it would relax, but then it'd come back. But pointing out I'd never done anything when it came back that I remembered. Like, I hadn't had a heavy day working out, I hadn't necessarily had a heavy day working, you know, I just put it down to, oh, it's an old injury that's just reoccurring. And it had gone away. Been doing some acupuncture and it was really good. And I had a therapy session and it was a really heavy one. And within 5 minutes of that session, my whole neck seized up. And it was a really interesting moment that I was kind of sat there realizing that I was doing this gripping. When you like hunch your shoulders towards you, it's just like a natural physical reaction. And it's really interesting to, when you understand about emotions and how the body doesn't understand the difference between a thought and a real life threat. Your mind doesn't know that if there's really a tiger there, or if you're thinking about a tiger being there. And if you're good enough at talking yourself into something, it will like be shown in your body, you know? So yeah, I think the links between the two are just so interesting. And the fact that people really don't put the two and two together, that as if we're just a machine that you put oil in and not connected to thought and the things around you, is mind-blowing to me. But like, I also understand the world that we live in, and I also understand how it's super easy to coast through life and never think about that. Yeah, unless certain things that happen in your life that make you change your mind about it, or who you're around, or but yeah, that's something that in the future I'd be interested in working on, some kind of connection of getting people to see the connection between mind and, you know, emotions and physical, and how we can like literally fix ourselves without like needing to do physio exercises. And I mean, I'm not saying if you injure yourself you shouldn't go to physio. I'm just saying these little things that we carry all the time, that kind of achy hip and that sort of like sore shoulder, that no amount of massage or physio or whatever seems to quite get rid of, is like, that's when it's more apparent that it's possibly something more emotional, I think. And yeah, how do you get that to be shown? Surely there's some scientists out there somewhere working on it, maybe in a lab that just got set on fire, because no one wants everyone to know the real connection.
Well, I guess that even us talking about that, it will hopefully give some insight to people that might not been aware yet of that sort of link. But it's
Yeah.
something really special to me because so many things might make more sense in the way that we are also taking care of ourselves when we create this connection, not just like the physical expression or the emotional expression, but the two linked together for sure. We will have um, a whole experience of ourselves in a deeper level of just the way
Mm.
that we've been bringing it into awareness up to this moment, which was probably no awareness at all of ourselves as a whole. So yeah, really resonating with your sharing around that, and hopefully this will be insightful for some that might not been
Mm.
thinking of that yet, and possibly exploring it deeper in their lives.
Even if it's just placebo effect, even if it's just that, then like, why not let it be that? Like, if it makes you feel better and or happier or whatever, if you feel that connection, then go for it. Even if it is just placebo and we're all crazy. Like, oh well, I'm happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And thinking of connection, I would like to link it to your experience of how Pilates, for example, came into your life. You started just with massage, and now
Mm.
you're developing something else that can be useful for the way that we are taking care of our body in a way that not necessarily we receive a massage, but we also actively do something to make our body feel better in certain situations. So I'm curious to know how that came into your life, and yeah, just like feel free to share anything that it
Yeah.
might be relevant to you around this topic.
Well, I mean, it's relevant in the sense of I kind of found Pilates through my own injury, so like on a personal level, through injuries caused by massage. Thanks, massage. Also from a pretty hectic lifestyle of, you know, festivals and doing this and that, and just going too hard and not looking after myself, you know. And I had a knee injury in, I think in the space of 2 years I had 3 different ACC claims for injuries of like, I did my meniscus in my knee. We might be able to put that one down to a festival though. I do love a good dance. um, but yeah, I had quite a bad shoulder injury and a serious thumb sprain that put me off work for like 3 months. So I had all these issues going on and got sent to physio originally for my knee injury. At the time, it was a time when we'd gone back into a lockdown. So it must have been 2021, the August 2021 lockdown, when it was a bit like, just get everyone vaccinated. Everyone else was in level 2, and it was just Auckland stuck in the level 4. It was just before that had happened, and he had suggested, oh, you should try some Pilates, because with a knee injury, it's really about strengthening the muscles all around, you know, the supporting muscles like your calves, glutes, you know, it's all really important to support the knee and for alignment, you know. Because obviously after going to physio with one injury, they managed to find a lot of other things about, you know, like you're a little bit out here and, you know, balance and things. So I started going to Pilates and just could not believe like how fast first of all, the injury improved, but like how fit I'd become, just like not even trying, like a different kind of fitness, that kind of core level. And it's so linked with breath. That it can be more meditative. Pilates itself, I won't go into too much detail because we're going to go off on a real tangent. You might need to bring me back. But Pilates itself, short story, a guy called Joseph Pilates back in the 1930s or 40s or whatever, went off to India, went around, found yoga, brought it back to Austria and kind of like functionalized it for rehab. Like took some like basic moves that you would notice if you were to watch a mat class, that you might see some like similarities with yoga. Took the breath, took the thought of mind body connection. His was mainly focused on breath and spinal health, but it's all the same thing, but just like a different outlook on it. So like not to remove it too far from yoga, whereas nowadays it's very far removed. There's lots of different types. It's all like whatever. But the original thought was very like mind body. So yeah, I found connection through that. Kind of became my therapy of like, you know, connecting. I didn't realize it at first, but I was connecting with my breath, with the movement, which I feel like in a lot of yoga that I've done in the past, it's so focused on the movement that the breath comes way down the line. Whereas like I recently just did a little yin yoga with the lady on the island because I was like, I want to explore my end reach, you know, like Pilates is very in small range rehab focused on like individual muscles to, you know, turn on ones you don't use anymore. Whereas I felt like I was missing that kind of stretch and that like, yeah, end range and feeling and flow. I was like feeling like I was missing the flow. And one of the things she mentioned to me that I thought that is really true for Pilates too, and most things, is that she wished that when she was getting taught that they'd explained how it's the breath kind of first. Obviously everyone's got different thoughts on this. I don't want to like spark a massive chat on this because I know nothing when it comes to yoga, but she had said, and I thought it connected and resonated with me for Pilates, that it's the breath first and the movement. Because yeah, you're doing the movement, you're looking around, everyone, oh, they're doing it better, and oh, and you're trying to keep up, so you're like it all feels a bit out of whack. You know, sometimes when you're trying to do the move but you're not thinking about the breath, and then when you bring it together it's like aha moment. Like yeah, I think that the breath coming first is like an interesting thought, because I really try and push that when I'm teaching my classes, to kind of settle in on the reformer before you start and like check in with what's my back doing, is it fully connected with the carriage. Like it's just a moment to like get everyone out of like rush work, car driving, find a park mode, and kind of like start to connect back with the breath. And then yeah, it can be your meditation if you like, or it can just be a workout. Same with yoga, it can just be a workout, or it can be like a full anything, I guess, but specifically those things.
Wow, thank you for your sharing, and it's really fascinating to know that Pilates in your experience started with your own injury, and that supported to you realize that there was something additional to your offering that you could add into that. And also your sharing about the breath is something that I resonate like, as well as you were saying, like this is not like prioritizing like which is the top 3 of our schedule during the day that we need to be aware of, but definitely there is a component in the breath, and talking as a person that used to be really anxious. Now through meditation, I managed to observe myself, and the breath especially was something that I understood with time, and I'm still understanding that is definitely something that is supporting me in refocus and rebalancing myself all the time that I'm losing track, or I have the impression of the tiger that we were talking about earlier, that the tiger is really much present in front of me,
Mm.
and bringing it back to the breath sometimes is supporting me in going back to the present moment, and noticing that there is so much that I can do for my body just through breathing,
Mm.
without following any breathing techniques or anything, just like to be present to what the flowing of my breath is allowing me to be present for. So yeah, I resonate with that too.
I just feel like the specific point of that is being present, because really all you're doing, and again, I don't want to be like, all you're doing, it's nothing, but like kind of if you break it down, you're just not thinking about anything but a thing. And that can be your breath, or it can be, but like focusing on that breath in that moment. Yeah, we're just so busy in our minds that just being present is like so important. Like I can't stress how not present I am all the time. And it's a huge thing that I'm trying to work on, is like staying present in the moment without my, it's like herding cats, trying to herd all my thoughts in the moment about this. And so the breath is really important. And I think a lot of people, because anxiety and depression, it's such a buzzword right now, and there's so many drugs out there, and there's so much, in a positive sense, a lot of focus on mental health, which is so important. Cannot stress enough how like happy I am that we're in a world where, even though we're just bombarded with screens, at least now I'm also like, depending on who you follow, in a world where stuff like holistic psychologists, which anyone listening, if you want to do any work on yourself, listen, like follow the holistic psychologists on Instagram or anything like this, because it kind of brings present awareness on all our little things that we think are just us, that do these little things, and maybe that overthinking is very normalized, but like, it's, if you want to look at it, a type of anxiety, to a point where if you're going to think yourself into a place that is uneasy physically in your body, like, it is normal because that's what we do, but that a lot of people don't realize they are quite anxious generally, and that it's just normal, and that to be on a medication it needs to be, whoa, really anxious or something. Like, I think, yeah, doing like understanding that the little things that seem normal like can be a like a trauma or a trigger, a thing that you're just repeating, that you think it's just you and you don't understand why no one else seems to do that, that, oh, this is because of this. Like doing a little bit of self-development and understanding your patterns, you know, that we don't realize. We live in a really anxious world. Like everything's like ba 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 ba. Like I'm not surprised everyone's like all the time. So I think it's really good to make space like that, and just like even ask yourself, am I present? Was I present then? Like I just drove home. I don't remember driving home. I was there, like, but you went on autopilot, like la la la. You know, how often are you on autopilot? And if it's like most of the time, then like there's probably space to come off and give your mind a break. Like, ugh, you know?
Yeah, you just remind me of the other day. I was in my head so much that I missed an exit. And that was the moment where I realized that I wasn't there at all, because
Yeah.
otherwise I would have missed my chance to go out at the right exit. And it's very absurd of that is coming to my awareness, in the sense that it is so relevant to me of how many input we receive in a day, that we are very much outside but not as much inwards, or if we are inwards, we are just in our mind. And so how do we find the relevant way for each and every one of us that can support us in becoming more present, even with the little things such as driving? How do I become more present of the road that I'm doing, of the exit that I need to take, and so on? And it can be even eating or cooking or anything that it can support us little bit every little day in becoming more aware of what we are doing instead of going into that autopilot. So definitely practice such as your one, either massage or Pilates, are definitely, to me, supporting that type of awareness, even recognizing while I'm receiving a massage, what is happening to my body? How is it possible that I'm feeling pain where I didn't even know that my body was tense, for
Yeah.
example? And likewise for practices like Pilates or yoga or any other sport activities or fitness activities that we can do for ourselves, realizing how they, although sometimes they might feel so challenging for us, still they bring so much support in the present that we can have in connection with our body. With sometimes it feels like just this little machine that needs to move us from point A to point B, and that's it. But still is way more than that. And sometimes we just come to this realization when we are injuring ourselves. So it's very interesting to notice how there are little things that we can become aware of even before those dangerous things are happening into our life.
Yeah. It surprises me sometimes when I see people come for a massage, like when I say, oh, any problem areas, anywhere you want me to spend extra time on, like the list of things people give me that I'm just like, I can't believe you don't go for like a like what? How are you living with this? Like, but we just get so used to it. We get so used to carrying pain, and we get so used to carrying feelings, and we get so used to carrying our traumas, and like that we think that that's just what we're supposed to do. It's like, come on, guys. So like I think that's why I enjoy the two, because now I have, if someone comes for a massage and they have something ongoing, something reoccurring, anything like that, there's always something in Pilates that can help them. So it's almost like, if I can't help you with this massage because it's something that's like a specific injury, or I would then pass you on to maybe a physio, or at least recommend that you maybe just try out some Pilates. It doesn't have to be Reformer. I only teach Reformer purely because the studio that I'm at only has space for Reformers. I had my experiences on a Reformer, so I chose to teach that. But like, even if it's just mat Pilates, anything that's going to help to functionalize this slight injury, or help to strengthen around the injury so that you don't need to massage as often, is like, that's my goal really with the two, to combine. Gives me a better understanding, but it gives me more tools to give you to go away and do. Because like, I think the other point of any job like massage or like whatever is that people come and expect that, okay, so I'm going to get a massage, it's going to fix it. It's like, well, no, like, you got that tension knot, like you need to sort that out. Like, I can't just massage you and then you not be tense anymore. That thing that's been stressing you out, that keeps giving you that knot in your shoulder, is going to keep coming back until you do the work to like fix that. Or that injury will keep re-injuring itself unless you work around strengthening the area, and then you learning new habits of how to use your body. Say it's a builder and they keep doing, like, you're digging, you're doing something, so it's a repetitive thing that you can't just stop doing, or you can't earn money. I get why people re-injure a lot. Yeah, so to be able to give people the tools to be able to like continue living what they want to do and how they want to live, like without pain or injury.
Thank you so much, Zoe. I really enjoy how we are going deeper and deeper into the conversation. And arriving at this point, my one of my question is related with if there is anything additional that you wish to share, that you sense that we haven't touched yet, but you might feel that is important to use possibly this opportunity to share it. Although we cover many important
Many
things, I
things.
wonder if there is still something that we haven't touched yet, and you wish to keep on contributing within the space with something that you find that it could be precious to share.
I think we kind of covered most of it. I think my main point would be that emotional connection that we have, and that to explore that, like explore yourself and how things make you feel, you know, like, and yeah, being present and feeling that feeling and then questioning it, you know, is that something that's mine? Is that something that like I need? Can I change that? Am I worrying over nothing? Like, yeah, and relating it back to your body. If you have an injury that you just can't seem to get rid of, or yeah, anything like that, then it can be like something that you can go into deeper and explore with, coming together with your breath, through yoga, through whatever your therapy is, whether it's gardening or like horse riding or whatever, would be to like do those things that make you happy and question the things that are like not. Would probably be the only thing I could add.
Thank you. Thank you so much. To me, everything is really precious, so I'll take anything that you wish to share. Another question, but it is more like a curiosity, is related to, I know that of course your offering are mainly related to certain bookings that maybe people needs to do to be connected with you, but do you have possibly, of course, apart from your website and your social media channels that will be add to the description of this episode, is there any way that people might get in touch with you or attend to something that it might happen either in Wahiki or anywhere else where they can have possibility to get to know you in person or to explore with you, or even just simply to question you a little bit more, just even
Yeah.
more than what I did up to this point.
There's an untold amount of questions in the world and an untold amount of answers, I'm sure. um, but yeah, that's probably just the channels that I would use, because through the website and the Instagram, there's like my mobile number and email and everything is there. Being on Waiheke, I'm a little bit more restricted. So my main focus when I'm advertising is pretty local. So I don't really have any other like channels or things I'm connected with at the moment. It would be nice to branch out to more Auckland things, maybe more the Pilates side, because it's just kind of hard to take all your gear to town, and it's a bit hard for me to leave the island all the time. So I guess my community here is smaller than it could be. So always happy to reach out and create connections on the other side of the Gulf, the little Hauraki Gulf that we're separated by. But yeah, because I feel like you get a little bit stuck in a routine here of your little Waiheke life. And it's really easy when you're living in like a little paradise to get a bit disconnected with everything that's going on, even just on in Auckland, not just the rest of the world. So yeah, it would be cool to connect, and yeah, those contact details would be the best way to reach out.
Cool, thank you. And of course, that's also a big shout out for whoever wish to make the way to Wahiki to know that there
Yeah,
is way
so
more
why?
than winery and beaches. There is also an opportunity for massage and Pilates if someone feel drawn to bring everything together all at once.
Yeah. I think one last point though that I would probably want to stress about that is, in one sense, the thing that is really cool about Waiheke is like, in one sense, yeah, it's very bougie. It's very like wines and helicopters and yachts and blah blah. But I think the beauty of Waiheke is that it actually was just pretty much a hippie island until like the 90s, until people started working out that it was nice to have a batch here, you know, and when the vineyards came, then the money came and it changed. But there's a huge community here of like healing and like lots of different ideas. it's just a little bit more hidden. You might just have to look out for a flyer in like the local countdown or the local shop, but like there's a lot going on here for people that are interested in that more spiritually minded stuff. If you want to break from Auckland, like definitely the universe will bring you to the right people the second that you step off the ferry, for sure.
Yeah, and thank you for adding on that, because that's also the impression that I have, mainly for tourists, but sometimes tourists could be Aucklanders themselves. So to look
Yeah.
out for even local things, which to me what makes the most of an experience wherever I go, but especially in Waiheke, the beauty of having such a precious space where it has that feeling of a community.
Yeah.
It's important to look out to these simple places that can offer us way more than what just like the internet is providing us
Yeah.
and giving us a sense of, especially in a place like Waiheke. So thank you for adding on that. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think we are almost at the last question. Well, we are actually at the last question of that, almost that, because the last question anyway will carry on us into this conversation for a while. But my last question is always a little secret, because it could be something that is either big or small, depending on the way that we are connecting to it, but can be frightening for some. So hopefully won't be your case. But the last question is just a nice way to conclude, in a sense that we've been giving out so many reminder, but his final reminder would be of, for you, if you wish to share 3 things that can be supporting us in empowering ourselves one more time, and you can use them even as a reminder for yourself or an
Sorry.
invitation. That's a really good empowering message. But definitely something that you wish to share in relation with empowering messages that could be either a reminder for yourself or for whoever else is listening, including myself. And once
Sorry,
again,
I got distracted by the dog. 3
mhm.
things that what? Sorry.
3 empowering messages,
Yeah.
no matter
So
how small or big they are.
I like that it's 3. It's my favorite number. I think what empowers me, I guess I might have to think for myself. Quick moment. But I think the first thing would be to really believe in yourself, like, which sounds really like whatever, but I think getting to where I got and doing what I did, I just did it like trusting that the universe would like make it work out for me, like to just have the balls to do it. Like, don't worry about what anyone else says. Like, just if it feels right, like do it on a business kind of like personal growth sort of level. And what would be another empowering thing? I think, yeah, just taking power and control of, the mind would be my second one, because I think that we are our own worst critics, and a lot of my anxieties that I've like struggled with or are facing now all come around from like just being hard on myself and being like having a negative narrative about myself that I made and that only I can change, like sometimes things in the outside world reinforce those things for you, but that's only because you're looking for them to reinforce your negative narrative that you have been telling yourself, for a long time. I think that, a little bit of like inwards looking at that is always good. That might be my 2. What do I even say? I can't think. I'm gonna keep thinking on that though, and I'll be so annoyed afterwards because I know I'll be like, oh, that would have been a good one to say.
That's what's keep it tricky of telling you just at the end, so you don't need to prepare.
No,
But
it's a good
yeah.
one though. Good one.
Yeah, but definitely those two are really empowering messages that I feel that are a good reminder also for myself. And I really like the beauty of telling them to yourself, like what will be an empowering message for
Mm.
myself. That's what making it special to me in the way that you are delivering it to us today. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And yes, my gratitude is going out to you for everything that you share up to this moment, and for the time that you have dedicated to this space, for a really deep insight that I'm hoping will be inspiring for our listeners today. So thank you so much, Zoe, for that. I really, really appreciate. Yeah.
Oh, so much for asking me. You've asked me a lot of questions that have kind of triggered some thoughts for myself as well. Things that I maybe didn't realize that I was quite so interested in, or yeah, it's been awesome. It's been really cool to catch up.
Thank you. Thank you so much for everything that you share with us, and I'm hoping that that will extend also to whoever is listening in this moment. As I mentioned earlier, everything will be available for you to reach out to Zoe if you feel like. But meanwhile, I'm really hoping that you're having a great day and that you're gonna bring some of this insight along your journey today. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a beautiful day.
Grazie per averci fatto compagnia. We hope you enjoyed your time with us. If you wish to stay updated and connected, visit us on our social media channels and our website www.artyoga.co. Ci sentiamo presto. Ciao! See you!